What's up guys, Readiness Reviews here with you again. And for the very first time in this channel's history, I have accepted a pre-release review sample from a manufacturer to do a product review for you guys. I was contacted by Olight to do this review of their brand new, for 2022, Olight PL-3 Valkyrie weapons-mounted light. I have been an almost daily user of Olight products for probably more than a decade at this point, and so they are certainly a brand that I trust personally, and that's why I couldn't pass up the opportunity to do a review of one of their newest products. Now let's get a closer look at this PL-3. Let's crack open this box and see what all the package contains. Little tear tab on top there. Slide open, and there's a little readme, just instructing to remove the insulating film at the tail cap before use. Another little readme about the proper way to tighten the light. User manual, what looks like a full little booklet of warnings, our included tools for mounting the light. And lastly, the light itself. Certainly looks pretty slick. Let's open up that rear door as instructed. There's our little bit of insulation. Let's see what kind of batteries this thing takes. Looks like we have two CR123As, not rechargeable. So our left click here is just a simple on and off, it looks like. The right click is the same. If we press both, that gives a super bright strobe mode, and a quick double tap of one of the buttons will throw it in the maximum brightness mode, which is apparently 1300 lumens. We'll do that right quick. Yeah, that is blindingly bright, even in this brightly lit studio room. On my personal bedside firearm, I have been using an Olight product since about 2018. This is the Valkyrie PL-2 weapons light. I don't have enough good things to say about this one. This much older light, though, is only rated at about 400 lumens at max brightness, and it is powered by a single CR123A as opposed to the dual batteries in the new one. Of course, we are skipping a couple generations here, a PL1 all the way to a PL3. Size-wise, they look about the same. The PL3 is wider and has a larger bezel. A lot of that wideness, though, is just coming from it having that additional battery. This older PL1 did have the very handy built-in lever removal. You just slide that and the light very easily comes off. Let's see how easy it is to install this new one. There is adjustment to the little locking rail on the PL-3, but for my particular firearm here, a Glock 34 Gen 4, it is already in the right position. So we'll just pop it right on the piece of rail there. Start by hand tightening it initially, and then as instructed, we will use their included Allen key and cinch it taut. So although the installation process isn't quite as effortless as this older PL-1 with its little flip lever, it is still super easy. The placement of the actuation button is basically perfect, for my hands at least. And even if you want to double tap strobe mode, it's just as simple as coming off your shooting grip and giving it a quick little double press for strobe. On a Glock 34, which is a long slide Glock, the lens does not extend past your bore here. However, on a shorter barreled firearm, you may run into a situation to where the muzzle end of your bore falls short of the lens of the flashlight. I'm going to remove this right quick because I am curious to see if it will operate with just a single battery. I know some dual battery lights will these days. So we'll pull out just that right one and close her back up. It will not fire up with just the left battery installed. Let's see if there's any difference with just the right battery. And again, it won't go with just the right battery either. So in order for this flashlight to operate, you do need both batteries. I've just been fiddling around with it here for the past couple minutes to try to get a good idea of what I think the build quality is like. And just like any Olight product I've ever handled, it seems to be very well built. The fit and finish is very nice all over. I think we spent enough time here on the unboxing and tabletop. Let's take this torch outside and see how it does in the field. So here we are at the Readiness Reviews range at night. This is my first time ever really doing any nighttime shooting, and we're doing the pistol here at 25 yards. This first shooting is PL-3 by Olight. This is the lowest lumen setting, which is 200 lumens. The first few shots here. I'm very disappointed in how I perform with the pistol. And this is 25 yards at night, and this particular Glock does not have night sights on it, but still my shooting was pretty abysmal. At 200 lumens, the target was plenty visible at 25 yards with a handgun. No problem, and I did manage to get a hit in there. But now we crank it on up to the 1300 lumens. You can definitely tell that the target is way more visible at maximum brightness here. My camera was having a hard time focusing, but you still get the idea. It is quite a bit more bright, and I did manage to crank out another couple hits here along with a ton of misses, but for my first time shooting at night, I'm not too mad about that. We are testing the light after all, and not necessarily me. Between each shot, you can see the little flash where the light leaves the target. I realized filming this video that the hardest thing about night shooting is not actually target acquisition, it's seeing your target after you've already shot, because a little poof of smoke comes out, and with light shining on that smoke, it pretty much blinds you and you can't see anything. Now we're doing a little quick test here of the strobe mode at 25 yards. That would be very disorienting for a would-be assailant. And right here we're doing a quick demonstration of switching from low mode to high mode, so 200 to 1300 lumens. Now we've attached the light here to an AR-15 chambered in 223. We're actually shooting at 50 yards here. We're starting out on 200 lumens once again, and you can tell in this frame here that the target was pretty difficult to see. Luckily, I do have a red dot on this AR-15, so even though the target was pretty dim at this distance, that red dot made target acquisition very easy, and I was able to make hits no problem, even at 200 lumens. Now we do go ahead and crank that up to 1300 lumens here. In the bottom left corner there, you can see that downrange is lit up a lot better than it was at 200, and the target was far more visible. I go on to destroy the target at 50 yards with my AR-15. These were extremely easy hits to make. The target was very visible, and of course that's aided by having a red dot sight. Red dots are pretty much cheating when it comes to low light conditions. And I do switch on the strobe mode here at 50 yards, and even at 50, the strobe is still doing its job well. Now we're doing a little comparative shooting between my older PL-1 and the new PL-3. This first string of shots is at 25 yards. The PL-1 is always 450 lumens. So it does beat out the PL-3 when the PL-3 is at its 200 lumen mode. But when we turn that PL-3 up to 1300, you can tell a huge difference in how bright the image is. Although we are encountering some focus issues on the PL-3 camera, there's not really much I can do about that. You can definitely tell it is brighter though. And now we're pushing it back out to 50 again. Again, the PL-1 is brighter than the PL-3 when the PL-3 is on its lowest mode. And you can tell that with this shot here. The right image is brighter than the left. But once again, when we turn that PL-3 up to 1300, things become a lot more visible. And it really does make a huge difference. Olight does rate this product for a distance of 225 meters. Now I only took it out to 50 yards, and it performed very well at 50 yards, but having it perform well at almost 4 times that distance would be a little bit questionable in my opinion. The light does have a water resistance rating of IPX6, which is right in line with the other WMLs offered by Olight. At the low 200 lumen setting, it is rated for 270 minutes of runtime. That 1300 lumen max brightness is only sustainable for about 1.5 minutes, at which time the lumens drop down to about 35% of that, which ends up being right around 455. At 455, the burn time is rated at 82 minutes, and then it'll drop down to 15% of maximum capacity, which is just under 200 lumens, and that'll give you another 43 minutes. For a double CR123 light, I'd say the runtime is pretty admirable. The weight on this is coming in at 119 grams or 4.2 ounces. It's rated for 1 meter of drop resistance and is rated for operating temperatures between -20 Celsius all the way up to 40 degrees Celsius. So I hope that gave you guys a decent account of what this new weapons light is capable of. This does seem like a pretty excellent light, but the thing about it that impresses me the most is the outstanding value price point that it's coming in at. I believe MSRP on the PL-3 is going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of $80. My PL-1 that I displayed earlier in the video was a $100 light when I bought it, but to make things even better, Olight is having a massive Black Friday sale for this particular weapons light. For the next few days after the posting of this video, these will be available on Olight's website for an awesome $54.99, making this a truly outstanding value light in my personal opinion. If I didn't already have the review sample, I would probably go out and buy one myself. Olight requested that I provide you guys with a link to that sale down in the description of this video, so you can check that out if you wish. And although I do think this has been a pretty positive video on the PL-3, I do have some very minor criticisms. The actuation buttons operate fantastically in normal conditions, but once I got the light out to the field, I found out very quickly that having cold hands can make it very difficult to cycle between the high mode and the low mode with your simple double tap. On multiple occasions I found myself maybe not tapping quite hard enough or giving it a triple tap by accident. Most of those things are probably user error, but it is a data point for you guys nonetheless. Also, the process of installing and removing the light is a little bit tedious, especially when compared to the lever of the PL-1. But keep in mind, this light is coming in at an extreme value price point, and so you can't expect everything to be 100% perfect. I want to say a big thank you to you guys for checking the video out. If you found it at all informative, please be sure to hit that thumbs up to help it out with the algorithm. Subscribe to the channel to catch all my future videos, and let me know what you thought about this video down in the comments. I'd also like to know what you guys think about Olight in general, and I will catch you in the next video. See you then. Peace.